So, can we start?
Yes, there are still people joining, but I think we can already start. So I will leave the words to my colleague that today will lead this second module of the training course of PINK projects. They are Alia, Iago, and Migle, and all of the three of them will lead this second module. So I will leave the word to them, who will introduce first the PINK project, just for those of you who are new today and didn't attend the first session, and then we will focus on the module that was for today. So I will leave the word to my colleague.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Today, me, Migle Mashute, Iago, and Alia will represent this training course of empowering preschool educators, best practices and resources for inclusion of children with behavioral disabilities. The PINK project aims to empower preschool teachers by equipping them with the competence, tools, and resources needed to implement inclusive education, particularly for children with behavioral disabilities. And of course, we proudly acknowledge that this initiative is funded by the European Union. However, it's important to note that the views expressed are those of the authors only and do not necessarily reflect those of the European Union or the European Education and Culture Executive Agency. PINK is a part of the Erasmus Key2 Cooperation Partnership in School Education. These projects promote collaboration between educational institutions, organizations, and stakeholders across Europe with the goal of enhancing the quality, accessibility, and inclusive-ness of education. The project runs from October 2023 to June 2026, lasting a total of 53 months. Excuse me, Omari, maybe you can turn off the audio? So the project is coordinated by Erasmus Learning Academy Italy, as you can see, Susanna, and cooperation with partners from across Europe, Spain, Lithuania, Romania, Estonia. You can read the names. I will not say them out loud because I don't want to pronounce them badly. So our project objective is to raise awareness on early age disabilities among educators and parents, to share best practices among educators to effectively address inclusion challenges, to empower preschool teachers with the competence required for inclusive education, to foster international cooperation in the field of inclusion for children with disabilities. And though these goals, PINK promotes a shared European vision of inclusive, empathetic, and supportive early education. And the project engaged several key target groups as preschool teachers, teachers, trainers, and educators who designed and deliver professional courses, and children aged from 0 to 6 with behavioral disabilities and their family. And actually, anyone who is interested in these courses can definitely join in and listen to us, because we still promote really informative and good quality information. Our project outputs to achieve its aims, PINK has developed 6 main outputs and activities. So we have a reflection tool, awareness campaign, inclusive best practices webinars. Actually, I really recommend to check them out on YouTube. We still have them with subtitles. There are great professionals that talk about early sleeping in various ages and others. Then we have this course that is training course for preschool teachers that we're having now, and preschool kit. So in a summary, the PINK training course represents a powerful step forward in supporting early childhood educators to meet the diverse needs of all learners. So this is a short presentation of the PINK project. Now let's get to the main part. And before talking about behavior disabilities, I would like you to think about your classroom. Picture a few of your students. What behavioral disabilities do you face in your classroom? Maybe someone can share in the chat or raise a hand to speak up.
Yes, as Megle mentioned, if you are not comfortable with speaking, you can always write in the chat. So you can share your experience and answer the question in the chat, and we will read it out loud later. But if you would like to share, you can also speak up.
Or if not in the classroom, maybe you encountered some behavior disabilities or some children with some disabilities in your environment or somewhere in some sort of situation. I see. I have been. Maybe.
Maybe
see
someone wants
sudden.
to, hello. Maybe someone, I saw like some text in group chat. Maybe someone wants to discuss how they like work with this aggressive behavior, for example. Like if they have any experience, that would be nice because our topic is about this. And if you can share your experience, like you can write also in chat or like talk about how is it going. If you want to give some advice or listen from us, would be nice also. Thank you.
I see a lot of comments go about autism or as you mentioned of ADHD. Maybe someone would like to share their encounter with these disorders.
Someone is raising.
Yes, I see. Just a second. So maybe, I don't know, it just disappeared. Maybe Ramon, maybe you would like to share, or Yulania? I don't know if I'm pronouncing right.
Hello, my name is
Hello.
Yulia. I'm a teacher in a kindergarten for children with disabilities and children with autism. I'm sorry, my English need more practice. They have aggressive behavior, and we use sensorial room for and melotherapy.
Oh, that's really nice.
And the sensorial room help them very much.
And what do you usually do in that room?
We have all kind of games with colors. It's a black room, no light, and not natural light. And we use temperatures. We use colors. We use we put them to touch different things, hot and cold, and we distract them from the aggressive behavior. With melotherapy, they forgot, and we start to work again in therapy with them.
That's really nice to hear, Leah. I see that also Ramon raised a hand. Do you have any experience that you would like to share?
What I do normally is we use a timeout. When I say the timeout, we call up the students and we take him to a classroom, wherein in another room they have different kinds of activities that they can do. So in order for them not to lag from the activities, we would separate them and we can give them a very special kind of activity that would actually cater to his needs at the time. So not to disrupt him or not to make him really late in doing the activity in the classroom. So we believe in inclusion. So anyway, after he kind of like subside all this kind of behavior, we take them back to the classroom and reintroduce him to the activities. So this would also kind of like make the other classroom, other students make their own activity without disturbing them. And we also have this kind of like we because I'm from a private school, we kind of like do or we have another establishment that would also cater that if we need help, they would come and help us. But otherwise, if we can do it, we just use the timeout system, and it really
Mhm.
helps. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's actually, I think, a common way, because as a teacher myself, I sometimes use a timeout also, and actually, it's quite helpful. So I'm gonna read out if unless I see Omari, I don't know how to pronounce correctly, wants to speak up. Giving the stage is yours.
Hello? Do you hear me? Hello? Do you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Yes, we can hear.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm Omari Chazua from Tanzania, East Africa. I think there is some sort of network connection problem, but um, we can say that student teacher who are going to teach primary schools. So in my class, actually, you may find that there is some kind of behavior, like the student may disrupt uh, your class, your lesson. There are some students who are much talking. They can talk a lot, but what we do for those students who are talking a lot, actually, you have to um, just provide some limitation, maybe for if you maybe was answering something, uh, you have to give some limit of maybe that is enough, and then you give him or her like a motivation or reward. So
Maybe Omari, you can write down in the chat if you hear us, the rest of it, and I'm
hello,
gonna read.
hello,
Yeah, maybe you
hello,
can
hello,
write in the chat,
hello.
because you
Okay,
yeah, maybe write in the chat so we can read it out loud, because of the internet connection. It's quite hard to understand the thought, and we would like to hear your ideas. So in the chat, I can see that Leah wrote that we talk to them, ask about their emotions, and they explain how is the proper way to show their emotion, that it would be safe for everyone. Rotaro wrote that in the classroom, I'm a shadow teacher for a child who shows hyperactivity, aggression, oppositional behavior, ADHD, and self-stimulation behaviors. And I see a lot of comments, right, about autism, ADHD. Someone wrote selective mutism. So let's get back to the topic. And how do we label? And also self-harm. But now, how do we label these behaviors? Do we call them misbehavior, defiance, emotional struggles, or learning difficulties? Actually, there is a huge difference. I would like to give you an example. Per se, we go to the store and the child really wants a candy, and he drops on the floor. He starts crying, looks at the mom, starts crying, looks at the mom again, and the mom, because she's feeling socially awkward, gives a candy. Is this behavior disability or is this misbehavior? You can write down in the chat. Okay, that's right. That is a behavior, misbehavior, and it's the same situation, but the child is overstimulated by the light, or maybe he sees the color that he doesn't like or doesn't want to. Something triggers him, and he starts crying, screaming on the floor. He cannot stop himself, and he doesn't recognize or interact with anyone in the environment. Is it misbehavior or is it behavior disability? Yes. So in this case, it is a behavioral disability. So what is a behavioral disability? Behavioral disability refers to condition that significantly impairs a person's ability to regulate emotions, respond appropriately to social cues, or maintain behavior within expected norms to their age and context. In other words, these are not just cases of acting out. As I said before, the child doesn't want to candy or something in return. They are patterns of behavior that are persistent, pervasive, and interfere with daily life, including the classroom environment. A child with behavioral disability may not be able to control their behavior in the way we expect, even when they want to. Their brain processes and regulates impulses, emotions, and social information differently. So let's distinguish behavior, emotional, and learning disabilities. These terms, behavior, emotional, and learning disabilities, are often used interhandsomely, but they actually describe very different challenges. So let's clarify that. Behavior disability are marked by persistent patterns of disrupted, defined, or socially inappropriate behavior. These behaviors often violate expected norms and interfere with daily life. For example, students with ODD or conduct disorder. Emotional disabilities are more internalized. They involve struggles like anxiety, depression, or mood dysregulation. These children might not act out. Instead, they might withdraw, cry easily, or seem disengaged. Learning disabilities, such as dyslexia or dyscalculia, affect specific academic skills like reading or math. These are neurological in origin and occur even in students with normal intelligence and proper instruction. It's important to know these categories can overlap. A student might have both learning and behavior disability. For example, a child who struggles with reading might develop defined behaviors as a way to hide embarrassment or frustration. So now that we've clarified these differences, I hope that you understood. I can repeatedly say that behavior is persistent patterns, disrupted, defined, or socially inappropriate behavior. Emotional is more internalized, and learning disabilities are neurological, and it's about academic skills. So now let's look at the common myths. Maybe you've heard them. I think most of the teachers have heard of them, or parents in some way or another. First myth or phrase that you can hear is behavior disabilities are just bad behavior. Maybe someone has stories with this phrase or myth.
Pardon.
Yes?
Can you repeat?
You can see on the screen, behavior disabilities are just bad behavior. Okay, so if nobody likes to share, I can say a fact that there are legitimately medical or psychological conditions. For example, ADHD and ODD have strong neurological.
Medical psychological condition.
Okay.
and emotional component. Studies from the CDS and the American Psychiatric Association show measurable differences in brain activity related to attention, impulsive control, and emotional regulation. And let's go to the other myth. Kids with behavioral disabilities just need stricter parents. I think some aunts, some uncles, or somewhere in the, how to say, in your social circle have certainly have said that you just need stricter parents and everything will pass away and just go and it will be nice. So actually, these disabilities definitely are not caused by bad parenting. While consistent boundaries help, of course, the underlying cause lies in how the child's brain regulates emotions and behavior. The other myth is my favorite one. They'll grow out of it. Have you heard this one from someone? Maybe in the classroom or in the environment, like from aunts, because me as a teacher, I definitely heard this, and it's sometimes funny to hear that, because I mean, funny and sad in the same way, because you can definitely know that if you take seriously the symptoms, you can help the child, but when you have these type of phrases, it's way harder. So let's look at the fact. Some children improve with maturity and support, but many behavioral disabilities persist into adulthood, and not properly managed early intervention makes a major difference. And let's look at the other myth. People with behavioral disabilities are dangerous. Look at this dangerous kid in the slide.
100% with you.
So does this kid look dangerous in the picture? Maybe he has some behavioral disability, but most are not violent at all. Myself, I volunteered in Lithuania and Lietuvos Vaikai Association with autism spectrum disorder. Of course, there are some cases where the kids are wearing boxer's gloves so they wouldn't hit anyone like a grown-up or themselves. It's a fact that there are some people, but in society we meet a lot of people. You can never know. Some of them might be criminals and some are not. So it's the same with behavioral disabilities. Most are not violent at all. Media often exaggerates this. The majority simply struggles with impulse control or emotional regulation, not aggression. And the other one, the last myth, I promise. So behavioral disabilities are overdiagnosed. This myth is, I think, really recent one. And you can hear it from older generation, this myth. But the fact is, research shows that the rise in diagnosis often reflects better awareness and access to care, not overdiagnosis. So now let's take a turn and let's just talk about those behavioral disabilities and that I'm gonna present today. So starting with ADHD, attention deficit or hyperactivity disorder. ADHD is a neurodevelopment disorder characterized by persistent patterns of inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity that interfere with functioning or development. There are three main presentations. Inattentive type. Can I get another slide, please? So in attentive type, the student seems distracted, forgetful, or disorganized, hyperactive, fidget squirms, talks nonstop, and impulsive, interrupts others, takes risks, can't wait to turn. Of course, there is also a combined type, displays both sets of behavior. ADHD is one of the most common behavior conditions in classroom. According to CDS, about 9.8% of USC children have been diagnosed with ADHD. That's roughly 1 in 10. In Europe, it's less of that. It's from 2.8 to 7.1% of children have been diagnosed with ADHD, but still it's important that we need to have this awareness. And ADHD is not simply about being energetic. It's about inconsistent regulation of attention and impulses. The same child who can focus on a video game for hours may still struggle to stay on a task in class because of how their brain filters stimulations. And studies show that children with ADHD often experience lower academic performance, especially when ADHD co-occurs with oppositional defiant disorder. So it's important to see these signs early on and just be aware and treat them right. Now let's talk about oppositional defiant disorder, or ODD. So before, just a second, a water break. Now, you usually hear that ODD is just a stubborn kid, but it's a little more complicated than that. Children with ODD aren't just being difficult for the sake of it. They display a persistent pattern of anger, irritability, arguing, and outright defiance towards authority figures like parents, teachers, and even babysitters, if you dare. While every child will test limits from time to time, it's normal, but it's kind of their job. But ODD is like defiance next level. It's intense, frequent, and lasts at least 6 months, often causing real disruption in family life, friendships, and school. Think of it this way. These kids usually know what the rules are. They know you said no. They know they should follow directions, but somehow their internal response is, yeah, about that, not happening. This can be frustrating, exhausting, and sometimes even heartbreaking for parents and teachers because it feels intentional. But research shows there's more happening under the surface. Brain imaging studies indicate that children with ODD may have differences in the parts of their brain that regulate emotions. In other words, this is not just a matter of attitude or laziness. There are real neurological factors at play. ODD rarely shows up alone. Many kids with ODD also have ADHD, anxiety, or other mental health conditions. And environmental factors matters too. Inconsistent parenting, family stress, trauma, or even harsh discipline can increase the risk of developing ODD. It's truly a mix of biology, temperament, and environment. Some kids are naturally more sensitive or reactive, which combined with chaotic or inconsistent surroundings can make difficult defiance more likely. The severity of ODD varies. In mild cases, you might only notice the behavior at home. Your child might argue with you relentlessly, but behave relatively well at school. In moderate or severe cases, however, the behavior extends into multiple environments. Arguments with teachers, fight with the peers, and challenges in social settings become regular occurrences. Left untreated, ODD can create a domino effect. Poor academic performance, strained relationships, and even higher risk of developing other behavior or mental health issues like depression or anxiety. In the end, ODD isn't about bad kid. It's about the child whose brain, temperament, and environmental combine in a way that makes following rules unusually challenging. So it's important to understand that. Now let's talk about anxiety. So anxiety, not the occasional nervous flutter before a big test or the butterflies before giving a speech. as me right now, but anxiety is a complex emotional and psychological state that can significantly affect daily life. Anxiety is essentially your body and mind anticipating danger or misfortune, even when the threat isn't clear or immediate. Think of it as your internal alarm system going off, sometimes unnecessarily. Muscles tighten, breathing speeds up, and your heart races, all as your body mobilizes to face this perceived threat. It's a state that's both mental and physical, showing just how interconnected our mind and body really are. Now, it's important to distinguish anxiety from fear. Fear is like a flash of lightning, short, intense, and triggered by a clear present danger, like seeing a snake on the trail. Anxiety, on the other hand, is more like a storm cloud looming on the horizon. It's future oriented, persistent, and often tied to vague of ambiguous threats, making it much harder to shake. The differences is crucial because while fear can be adaptive, helping us react quickly in dangerous situations, anxiety can become maladapted when it dominates our thoughts, behavior, and even physical state. Anxiety disorders take this experience to a high level. They're marked by excessive worry or fear that interferes with daily functioning. People with anxiety may avoid situations that trigger their discomfort, whether that's social interactions, school, or work, or engage in behavior meant to reduce distress, like seeking, like procrastination, or relying on a safety behaviors. Uh, Physically, the tension, restlessness, and somatic complaints can make everyday tasks exhausting, and emotionally, the consistent worry can feel like carrying a heavy backpack you can't set down. What's fascinating is that anxiety isn't all bad. It reflects adaptive processes too. The same mechanisms that keep us alert to real danger can also help us plan ahead, stay focused, and solve problems. The challenge comes when these processes become overreactive and misdirected, turning everyday situations into sources of chronic stress. Anxiety is essentially a complex interplay of cognitive, behavioral, and psychological mechanisms, a constant negotiation between what we think might happen, how our body reacts, and how we respond behaviorally. So, in the end, anxiety is both a friend and a foe. It alerts us, motivates us, and keeps us safe, but when it becomes excessive, it can limit our potential and disrupt our well-being. And this is the last diagnosis that I'm going to talk about, behavioral disability. It's the most written in the chats, and I think a lot of us encounter it in our lives. So it is autism spectrum disorder. So I will give you a quick question before talking about it. And you see in the image that it's infinity sign. And it used to be a puzzle. Do you know why it changed?
Maybe because a puzzle is something we can complete, we can fully understand, and autism is not like that. It's very variable.
Okay.
Complex.
True. You're quite right. So autism associations, especially parents, were mad that the logo was a puzzle piece because it felt like something is missing. And autism spectrum is a huge variety, and it is a beautiful, of course, disorder, and a lot of kids are unique in their own way, and they're not missing anything. We just need to understand that they are different. So that's why it's infinity sign with various colors, because they're all different. So imagining stepping into a world where the rules of social interactions, communication, and perception feels completely different, where small gestures, subtle tone, or fleeting expression that most of us take for granted can seem puzzling, overwhelming, or even invisible. This is the lived experience of individuals with autism spectrum disorder, a neurodevelopment condition that shapes how people perceive, understand, and engage with the world around them. The world spectrum is a key. It reflects the incredible diversity in how autism presents itself, from individuals who require significant support in daily life to those with extraordinary talents and above average abilities. Signs often appear in early childhood, differences in eye contact, responsiveness, or speech, but sometimes children develop typically before experiencing a period of regression around 80 to 24 months. So a lot of parents actually talk about this, that usually children start saying their first words, they're looking into you, and then regression happens. Like they cannot speak yet again. And that's one of the first signs. Core features of autism include social communication difficulties, repetitive or restricted behaviors, resistance to change, and unusually sensory sensitivities. Yet, no two autistic people are the same. Every individual carries a unique combination of strengths and challenges. Globally, about 1 in 127 people is estimated to be on the spectrum. While some can live independently, others may require ongoing care, and co-occurring conditions such as anxiety, depression, ADHD, or epilepsy are common. Research increasingly shows just how important those co-occurring emotional and behavioral issues are. For example, a study found that youth in autistic kids had elevated emotional and behavioral problems that impacted daily functioning almost as much as the core autistic symptoms themselves. Among a sample of children with autistic syndrome, and each explained comparable with appropriations and impairment. This emphasizes that supporting autistic individuals means supporting more than just the classic autism features. It means addressing the full emotional behavioral world. Autism challenges us to rethink assumption about normal, to recognize that different doesn't mean deficient, and to embrace the value of diverse minds. Each autistic person offers a distinct perspective, a different way of seeing, thinking, and feeling. And we create a world that acknowledges and values those differences. We not only support autistic individuals, we enrich our society as a whole. Because while the spectrum is wide, empathy, understanding, and inclusion are the brightest that connects us all. So in a sense, autistic children are all different. There are definitely different levels to it. In mild cases, maybe they just don't recognize some social cues. For example, if you would say after a hard test, oh, well, that was a piece of cake. I mean, us, of course, would understand that it was a sarcasm and it was really hard to understand that. But if we would say that maybe to autistic child with mild case, he wouldn't understand the cue of sarcasm. And of course, in the hard cases that I mentioned before, it's basically the children who even boxer gloves because they can hit someone or hit themselves. And for them, some of them cannot speak. So it's a variety of cases. It's actually a beautiful world to discover and to know. And of course, we have a lot of issues, and we have to find usually solutions even in the classroom environment. And for the last note, before going to a little fun activity, although we separated behavior and emotional disabilities, they often overlap in the real world. For example, a child with anxiety might refuse to speak or avoid class, behaviors that look defined but are rooted in fear. A student with learning disability might act out because task feels impossible, not because they don't care. So when we see a behavior, we must ask, what is the behavior communicating? Often it's a signal of deeper distress or unmet needs. So now let's go to a little activity. I will give you a determine, just a second. So I will give you a clinical symptom, and you will have to guess which diagnosis it is, okay? So write in the chat. I will say quickly how it is, and then I will give a microphone to my other participant in this training course. So please, another slide. Child refuses to follow rules at home and school, often argues with adults. What do you think it is? Okay, I see one correct answer in the chats. Now two. Okay, so it is ODD. Yes, yes. We can, yes, oppositional defined disorder. Okay, let's go to the next one. Frequently loses materials, easily distracted, forgetful, or of daily tasks. That's right, ADHD. Okay, let's go to the next one. Avoids eye contact, becomes distressed with small changes in the routine. Okay, that's correct. Autism. And the last one, excessive worry before tests, restlessness, avoids speaking in class. Okay, that's also correct. It is anxiety, and that would be it from me. I hope you just understood at least one thing. If you took from my 40-minute speech, I would be really glad about that. And then I will give this presentation to Alia, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Migle. Yes, I will continue with the next topic, which is obviously from behavioral disabilities, a bit more concrete, let's say here. We understood the general principles about behavioral disabilities, and now in this part, we will try to learn how to recognize them. So first of all, I would like you to take a look at this discussion list and think. Think of a time from your experience when you spotted a behavioral disability in your student. I would like you to describe the behavior that you found unusual. Maybe it was your first time that you were working with children, or maybe you found something unusual, but you just spotted something and you thought it's something that doesn't occur often, and you thought that maybe it's related to some special needs or behavioral disabilities. If you have such example, please raise your hand or write it in the chat. So this is about before the student got diagnosed. So a student without diagnosis, and you spotted something unusual in them. And what do you think, what kind of behavioral was that? I can give you example from my experience. We have some students. Right now, I teach in primary school, so I see in some students definitely some ADHD behavior, but it's not diagnosed, unfortunately, and the parents are not very willing to certify it. So this is one example. Okay, as you wish. If you think about, if something comes to your mind about this, please write it in the chat and I will read it later on. But for now, we can move on. And now I will talk to you about general characteristics of behavioral disabilities. So there are 5 general characterizations of emotional and behavioral disabilities. The first one, an inability to build or maintain satisfactory interpersonal relationships with peers or teachers. For preschool children, this is with caregivers, with teachers. So if there is, of course, we can think about it as shyness, but if it is persistent behavior in which it is very difficult for a child to build some kind of relationship with his or her peers or with teachers, it is one of the signs. The second one, an inability to learn, which cannot be adequately explained by intellectual, sensory, or health factors. So some inability in learning, which is not linked to their culture, nor to their health factors or sensory problems. So this can be also thought as maybe potential sign of behavioral disability. Third one, a consistent or chronic inappropriate type of behavior or feeling under normal conditions. So if there's normal classroom conditions, but let's say the kid is throwing tantrums a lot or behaving somehow not appropriately often, then it can also be a sign of behavioral disability. Number 4, a displayed pervasive mood or unhappiness or depression. Fifth, a displayed tendency to develop physical symptoms, pains, or unreasonable fears associated with personal or school problems. So here again, an inadequate way to show emotions, inadequate way to feel normal situations, to the point that they can even feel physical pain. This kind of situations may explain that it can be a behavioral disability. Now, here I would also like to very importantly show a distinction, that there are some cases that you might think it's a behavioral disability, but it's actually not. And I would like to go through some points that a child cannot be categorized as having emotional or behavioral disability if we have these points. So first of all, we have lack or inappropriate instructions about reading, or including essential components of reading instructions, or lack of instructions in math, or lack of instructions in writing. So overall, if there's a lack of explanation from teacher's side and a kid doesn't understand, it doesn't mean they have behavioral disability. Maybe it's not an adequate way to explain, or maybe they need another way of explanation. Another thing is limited English proficiency, or depending on your country, the language of your country. So if they don't know, let's say if they are foreigners and they don't know that language very well, and they have limited proficiency of that language, that also does not mean they have a behavioral disability yet, to not make it to make a distinction. If they have visual, hearing, or motor disability, so this is more about physical special needs, if they have a visual aid or if they have hearing aid, and because of that they don't understand something or don't hear something, it's not a behavioral disability. Intellectual disabilities. Now this is a difference that also Migle pointed out. Yes, we have behavioral disabilities and intellectual disabilities. Intellectual disability is not the same. It is one example, for example, is a Down syndrome. It is a physical difference, and it's not considered as behavioral disability. Cultural factors, if again the student comes from a different background and doesn't understand something, it doesn't mean he has or she has a behavioral disability. Environmental or economic disadvantage, so if they come from a background that is less fortunate, also not a behavioral disability. Atypical educational history, for example, multiple school attendances, lack of attendance, or changing schools a lot. So maybe due to their personal family reasons, they switch schools often, but it does not mean that they might have a behavioral disability. Now, before I move on, there's some, no, okay. Here, I would also like to show, here we will go further, how to spot behavioral disabilities. Now, there's two types of behaviors when it comes to children with behavioral disabilities. There's internalized behavior and an externalized behavior. What is the difference? Internalized behavior is a little bit less visual, less visible, because it comes from within, it comes from inside, from internalizing. And then there's our externalized behaviors. Those are behaviors that are visible, that are maybe linked to or is related to relationship with other students, so you can see it straight away. Now, I would like to tell you some points about these behaviors. So firstly, internalized behaviors. It might be that they have a poor self-esteem. They might develop depression in older ages, of course. They might have lack of interest in learning or in any other activity. It might be self-injury with older children as well. It could be separation anxiety. Of course, separation anxiety is okay with small children, with kindergarten-age children, but if it is persistent and every day and happens so often, it is not okay. Panic disorders and eating disorders. Those are internalized behavior. Now, externalized behaviors might include aggression, non-compliant, which means not listening to the teacher, can be extroverted. So usually externalized behaviors show through extroverted students. They might be disruptive, they might be hyperactive, can bully others, and can show physical aggression. Now, this is the distinction between internalized and externalized behavior. Okay, next, I'm going to move on and I'm going to talk about behavioral disabilities and the behaviors that might show in school or kindergarten. Then we can have a little discussion about it. You can give me examples. So now think about ADHD. So attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder. Some behaviors that can come at school or kindergarten is the student might be unable to stay still. They might seem running around all the time at any opportunity. They might be jumping or knocking into things, being restless all the time and not able to sit in one place. And they are also very reactive when seeing, hearing, or holding something, and that they tend to seem careless. Other behaviors include difficulty focusing when speaking or when doing some tasks. They also seem sometimes forgetful. So, for example, forgetting instructions or forgetting where things are located. Okay. Usually when it comes to ADHD children, there are three main problems that we can divide into three categories. There are problems with focusing, impulsive behavior, and hyperactive behavior. Let's go through each of them individually. I will again tell you some examples of behaviors for each problem shortly. So problems with focusing. Again, it's difficulty in focusing on paying attention, easily distracted by surrounding situations, move around frequently, unable to stay still, bang on tables, walk around in class, frequently lose things because they forget where they are, and they talk a lot and actively. Those are problems with focusing when it comes to ADHD. Impulsive behavior may include tend to act before thinking, closely controlled by their feelings, so feelings first and then rationalizing. Less able to perform activities in sequence, so it's not organized, are not able to cue or wait for their turn to play, likely to interrupt other people's conversations, easily disrupted and irritated, quickly switches from one activity to another. And then there's a hyperactivity component. It is showing excessive movements, unable to control their motor activities, seem to be moving continuously without becoming tired. Now, I would like to give you one example from my classroom. I have taught before kindergarten age children, and now I am in primary. So in primary, it is a little bit more visible, as from my experience at least. So I have one student in my class who I think has ADHD, and the behaviors that she shows is that whenever we're sitting, she cannot sit on her chair. Her back is always down. She's almost laying down on the chair. She's always sitting on very weird positions and really restless. So she must move her body at least every 5 minutes to make it different. She always has some fidgety things on her desk. She always touches some pencils or pens. Moves them around and flicks some things around all the time. And when I'm discussing something or explaining a topic, I can see her not being present. I can see her wandering somewhere and like going there, and I know that she's not there. Um, Other things is that she speaks without thinking. So she first says it and then she thinks. Most of the times when she speaks about something, it can go onto some other different direction. So irrelevant to the topic that we are discussing. And for example, if somebody mentions some word, like a trigger word, she starts talking about that. Doesn't matter what we are doing, doesn't matter what we are talking about, she will start talking about this like a trigger word. Though she seems like, yeah, it's hard for her to focus. However, most of ADHD students are quite smart. Most of her performances are very well, like all of the tasks that she does are above average or even higher. And though she seems like she's unfocused all the time, actually her academic performance is really good. So this is one thing that I noticed with ADHD students, kids. Does anybody have anything to add about ADHD? Maybe you have similar stories. You can raise your hand if you would like. Oh, Eugenia, you would like to talk? Go ahead.
Yes, I have a 6 years old child, always making music with everything around him, in the
Banging.
canteen, everywhere. I think he cannot stay quiet.
Yeah.
Everything we do, he's tapping, he's making music all the time.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Like they need to be doing something, fidgeting, or as you say, banging. Maybe perhaps that's how they focus. But yes, we have more here to share. I see. Okay, Yuliana, from my point of view, the most difficult to help are children with associated disabilities, especially those associated with retardation, all of which make a teacher's job very difficult. This is a broad term, right? But I guess this is more about learning disabilities. Some kids have learning disabilities, and depending on the degree of that learning disability, they might need additional assistance, or they might need even like additional hours of the subject. For example, in our school, we have one student that we have Spanish language, and she doesn't participate in it because it's too hard for her. And instead of that, they take her and they teach her her native language even more. So in this case, because of this learning disability, she needs more time to learn. So in order not to overwhelm her with even more stuff, they just said, okay, let's not teach her another new language. She would get even more confused. Let's give her more hours of her own language, for example. And we have Ramona. I have a student who gets bored very quickly. And one day during a test, he made about 20 paper airplanes and threw them around the classroom. Oh my goodness. Yeah, might sound like ADHD. Okay. Anybody else would like? Otherwise, I'm going to move on. Okay. So this was ADHD. Let's talk about ODD opposite defined disorder. Yes, Migle also pointed this out. Yeah, this behavioral disability is characterized with a lot of tantrums, a lot of aggression. Yes, we can see high aggression with both verbally and non-verbally, so it can get physical. They often deliberately hurt others. It can happen, or damage objects around. They easily go mad or throw tantrums. In social interaction, they interrupt what other people do on purpose. So here we have four characteristics of this behavioral disability. I would like to go with each of them so that you have a better understanding. So first of all is what can happen is property violation. So things like breaking some things on purpose or damaging school facilities or stealing can be characterized with this behavioral disability. Second, we have aggression. So things like escaping or leaving the class without permission, or breaking promises with teachers or other students, or not listening to the teacher. Another characteristic is status violation. So it is attacking other children verbally or physically, can be rude, or can even bully others. And lastly, oppositional behavior. So this means that they often argue with authority figures, such as parents or teachers. They can seem angry or stubborn, and they tell lies. So with this one, I have an example from kindergarten. I don't know, this one is very tricky to pinpoint because ODD usually comes with other behavioral disabilities like ADHD also. But also it's hard sometimes to tell the difference if a kid is actually just throwing a tantrum or if it's a behavioral disability. But one student in my classroom, I remember even he was kicking the teachers, he was like beating them. He once bit my hand. So a lot of like that. So I think that when this behavior is persistent, when it's happening often, then it's more problematic and it can be maybe identified as ODD. Anybody has a similar experience? Maybe they also saw in their students some behaviors that are discussed here. If you would like, you can raise your hand or also write in the chat. I don't know about your countries. This behavioral disability is really hard to diagnose. And I personally have never seen a student with this diagnosis ever. So I am not sure if it's possible to get this diagnosis in all countries. Let's see, Ramona writes, the same student sharpened a pencil and poked his classmates with it. I see. I wonder if it was malicious or if it was just a little teasing. Yeah. Okay, if you have any more replies, examples, you can write in the chat. Let's go to the next one. Let's discuss about autism spectrum disorder. Okay, so we have a lot of symptoms when it comes to autism. Of course, it's a long spectrum. Some can show, some signs can be seen very easily, some not, especially considering that girls, although they might have autism, they are prone to hide it better because of social differences, because of differences in upbringing, right? But generally speaking, of course, if we have behaviors such as, for example, disliking interactions with teachers, rarely speaking fluently, or often use language others do not understand. If most of the time they are busy with their own activities and seem not to be interested in what is happening outside, or they're not willing to play with other children. So these are some behaviors at school. Some other general characteristics or symptoms are, the most common symptoms of autistic children is that they do not like to make eye contact. They usually do not want to speak when spoken to and do not respond when addressed, especially in very early childhood. In social interaction setting, they do not want to play with other children and are engrossed in their own activities. So, and we also have something called echolalia. Maybe you have heard about it or experienced. It's children with autism, especially early. For example, you ask them question, "How old are you?" and they don't reply. They say, "How old are you?" They just repeat whatever you say. So this is one of the most visible symptoms of autism is echolalia. Of course, movements back and forth or some specific flapping of hands or tiptoeing on the toes, also a sign of autism. Okay, here we have some replies. So Veronica said, I had experience with a student, 5-year-old. He had a lot of aggression in him. I could say that it is ODD, but yeah, he was not officially diagnosed. Boy, Lee says, boy of 5 years is often bullying other children and teachers. He does not doing as needed, but does everything that's not allowed. Exactly. So going opposite what is asked, right? Eugenia said, in Portugal, we have ODD diagnosis, mostly in children with ADHD. So yes, they are mostly paired, right? And even sometimes they can see the difference. Maybe some diagnoses think, okay, this is ADHD, but it might also be ODD, but they don't differentiate sometimes. Okay, so that's a bit better in Portugal. Teria, hi. I have experience with ODD with ADHD also. So we have from Claudia, autism with ADHD. Yes, that's true. They can be also combined a lot. Rotaru said spinning. Yes, spinning motion can be seen in autism. Juliana, I have a little boy who hits himself when the teacher asks him to do homework and he doesn't want to work. Oh, so this is autism. Ella, do autists learn English fast, the native language? It's interesting because actually I have students in my class. They are fourth grade students. They are Lithuanian kids. Yes, they know Lithuanian language and they know English language, but they do not speak Lithuanian. They prefer English and they only speak English. So this is interesting. They are boys, two twin brothers, and they just speak in English, everybody, and between each other also in English. Even though, let's say, mom speaks to them in their native language, they reply in English. So I think it's not. I think it's just a preference. If a kid likes the language and wants to learn it, they learn pretty well. I think it doesn't mean. Migle, let's hear you.
Yeah, so I would like to add a little bit. So basically, with the English preference, it's because the English is way easier to learn than our native language. It has way less of a rules. So usually, for example, in Lithuania, most autistic children will prefer English. As I was in a camp, because English language is way easier for them to learn. The rules are way easier. That's why they choose usually English. So yeah, just wanted to add that.
Okay, so it could be actually depending on the language that they know compared to English. Maybe if English is easier, they choose English and they just go with it. Okay, I have a student who bites his fingers when he gets frustrated in class. It's Diana's shared with us. Rotaro shares. If he was exposed earlier to the English language through video or Estonian that are typical of bilingual children. I see. So the more he exposed to that language, the more he's prone to speak it. Okay, we have Eugenia. Please go ahead.
It's the same that Rotaro wrote. They may have the preference for English because all the things they see in the internet, in the television, is in English, and they have some ability to learn it, and then they prefer that language.
And especially considering that some like kids with autism, they like to copy exactly how the phrases go. And let's say, as you said, if they hear it or see it from TV or YouTube, they like how it sounds and stick with it. It's funny because these kids that in my class, they are speaking so like funny, but not funny. It's like it's really interesting to me how they speak. They speak like native speakers, like actually English native speakers. I guess, as you said, yeah, because they see everything like online and they just copy it. But they're very smart, these ones. Okay. Oh, we have a very nice comment. Thank you for this very interesting session. Thank you for joining. Okay, let's continue. So this was autism. We are now going to talk about OCD. Yes, something that is, I think, also linked mostly with ADHD. If it's diagnosed, then it's diagnosed in a couple with something else most of the time, as I know. So some of the behaviors at school that you can see of OCD kids is students with OCD may repeatedly check their work, erase and rewrite answers, or be overly focused on perfection. They may need excessive reassurance from teachers and may take much longer time than others to complete tasks due to their rituals or compulsions. Some other symptoms, general symptoms, they can fear of germs, fear of harm or disorder. They can have compulsive behavior like hand washing all the time, counting or checking. So these are, yes, OCD. Does anybody have a encounter with OCD students? Because personally, I have never worked with OCD students. Usually, if I see these behaviors, they are mostly related to autism. So I have never seen, again, the OCD being diagnosed on itself like that. Maybe we have some different stories about OCD.
If I might,
Yes, yes, of course.
I remember I have a colleague when I was a student. In every test, she writes her name and put a line and writes again. She had to do that 3 times.
Oh, wow.
Then it's okay. But I don't know if she was autistic.
Yes, and this writing ritual, it comes from fear. It's like irrational fear. They think that if they do that, then like something bad will not happen. And it's like this obsession, like this
And
obsessive
when
behavior.
we walk on the street, she had to knock every 7 doors.
Oh,
She knocks
wow.
and then
So it sounds like definitely.
we saw that as a play that she does. But now thinking, it's a little bit odd.
Interesting. Yeah. It's but imagine living with this. I mean, it's really challenging. Like imagine this anxiety and you have to let it out like that. Okay, very nice. Thank you so much for sharing. If you have any more things you would like to share about any of these behavioral disabilities in the chat, you can write. I will read them. Okay, so we've discussed these. We will later on go to and discuss about treated and untreated behavioral disabilities. But here I would like to just shortly point out early detection techniques, and maybe you can also share with me how you do those things in your country. Generally, this is very general information. How it works is that the teacher, let's say, or educational staff suspects a child to have special needs. So they first suspect, then they observe the kid in the classroom and in playing situation. After they have observed, they interview with parents or caregivers. So they ask them the questions, let's say, for example, oh, does your kid also rock in the chair when he's writing, when he's doing activities? So subtle questions like that. And if so, they communicate with the parents and they write referral letter that contain the data and evidence collected. So they write what exactly happened, and let's say what time, and then referral to pediatrician or child psychologist is sent, and then they have a final decision what behavioral disability they might have. Okay. Usually in Lithuania, as I know, maybe also some Lithuanians, Migle, can share more. She might know more because I'm a foreigner here. But as I know, yes, the teachers inform the parents, but the final decision is in parents, and they have to go to that special institution that checks the students. So in here, they don't need teachers' referral, as far as I know. Maybe somebody can back
Yes,
me.
yes.
Yes, go ahead.
It is correct. They don't need. Usually, it's just linked to a specialist, or something like we can recommend, and parents can decide themselves if they're going or not. So this is the case.
Yes.
But,
So
yeah,
not
they
much
don't.
from teacher, as you can see. What is your experience in detection of disabilities? How is it done? Maybe you would like to share. Yes, Georgina, please. Oh, we cannot hear you right now. Microphone.
In Portugal, it's the same. Parents can decide to do something about it, but if they decide to do nothing,
Yeah.
school can proceed and make take the child to the hospital to make the evaluation.
Oh, the school can do that?
Yes.
Oh.
The school can force this to happen
Oh, wow.
because parents can be seen as negligent. If the teacher said that the child have a need and the parents don't do nothing to fulfill that need, the judicial system sees that like a negligent parent, and they can go in a process that lead to take out the child from that
Oh, wow.
family. Yes.
That's very serious.
Yes.
I have never heard.
Parents know that, and maybe even if they don't feel the need to go to the specialist, they go because
Oh,
they
wow.
know there can be other consequences.
That's, I don't want to say nice, but it's good that they're going, because in our case, we say for years and years, but if they decide no, we cannot do anything about it, unfortunately. And we have a
Schools
lot of
have
kids that are undiagnosed and learning, but they are not suitable to learn these things without certification.
School have a strong intervening rule. Teacher can make the difference in the children's life.
That's really great.
Yes.
In our case, it's not possible. Maybe others would like to share how it's done in their countries. We have, I know, Romania here. We have Estonia, as I know, Italy, right? Maybe other countries. No? Okay. If you would like to add, of course, you can always do it in the chat. Okay. Right now, we are going to activity. Okay. So here, please listen up. I will explain how it's going to be done, and then there will be a task for you. So it's called Spot the Sign. So we will watch video clips, 3 of them, of cases of behavioral disabilities. You need to spot possible unusual behavior and identify which behavioral disability it could be. So you will watch a video. After you will watch the video, I will pause it. And in the chat, you will write what behavioral disability you think it is and by what behavior did you think it is. So you need to write what behavioral disability and what kind of behavior made you think so. Okay, so I would like to know how you spotted it. I hope it's understandable. Are we ready? Please give me some reactions here if you are. Great, thank you. Okay, so let's go ahead and watch the video.
Oh, great.
If you're scared, say oh no.
Oh no!
If you're scared,
Come on, Alex.
say oh no.
Oh, yeah, Johnny.
Scared, say
Oh no! Oh no!
Scared, say oh no.
swinging in a linear motion, back and forth, side to side, is good for calming and organizing the body. And some children who need to be alerted in the morning need to have more boisterous swinging. But when it's hung from a single stance such as that, it interacts with their brain much better than if it's just a regular swing out on a playground. And so we try to go side to side and back and forth with them. All of this is just to help them become alert. If they're high energy, it helps them get rid of excess energy. If they're very sleepy and don't want to wake up, it's great for helping them to be alert for the morning.
One little finger, and if you're happy and you know it. Oh, good choice, right there. It says, I want to sing.
Okay, so here I will pause. Write please in the chats which behavioral disability you think it is and why. I will give you some time. Don't forget to write why do you think. Okay, we have here, yes, all of you responded, those who responded, thank you so much. Autism, that is autism. And some of the examples of behaviors are echolalia, sensory needs, talk through images, Rotaru, and also she said tiptoeing. Thank you very much. Tiptoeing, we have ADHD. We think the adults are trying to calm down the children. Then we have more autism. Okay, let's reveal the answers. Thank you so much for cooperating. Let's see what we have.
Beauty of autism, or the difficult thing, depending on how you look at it. But you have to know what each kid needs. And every person's individual, but every person with autism, that's like even more.
Yes, and you were right. This was autism. And as she said, it was really nice quote. You need to understand what the kid needs, and every person, even without autism, has different needs. And also kids with autism have different needs, right? Would you like to comment about this video, add something? If so, you can raise your hand right now. Oh, and talking about certification, here we have a response from Romania. Also, they say we can't do anything if parents refuse to accept that the kid has a problem. Yes, I remember talking to my Romanian partners, colleagues. Yeah, they shared the same frustration as we do. We cannot do anything if the parents don't do anything. Yes, and we have autism, echolalia, need for motor action, need for visual clues to speak, exactly. Okay, thank you very much. We are going to the next video, which will show a different behavioral disability, so please take a look.
I told you to open this.
I did open it.
No, you didn't.
It's open.
No, it's not.
This is open. Look. Look, it's open. There's chocolate putty right there.
Look, this is not open.
You mean this right here?
No, right here.
Right here?
Yeah,
You want me to take this off?
this off.
This.
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to eat it if I don't take it off?
You do take it off. You can.
It's completely open, Raphael. You can eat it.
Not yet.
Yes,
See,
yes, yes,
this is
yes. You can eat. No, you can eat it right now.
not yet. See, this is shut.
No, 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 no. Look.
Don't pick it out. You're not gonna pick it out.
It's open. If it wasn't open, I wouldn't be able to get it.
You're not gonna do that in the chocolate pudding.
Look.
No.
Look.
You don't do that in the chocolate pudding.
Don't think about it.
Don't think about it, Mommy.
Yeah, just eat your chocolate pudding. Don't think about that piece of paper. Nobody cares about that piece of paper.
You don't do that in this chocolate pudding.
Yeah, we just care about the chocolate pudding. Right?
You don't care of that chocolate pudding.
We care about the chocolate pudding.
No, we don't.
We don't care about that paper. That paper has nothing to do with us. It's just being there and wants to be left alone. So leave it alone and eat your chocolate pudding.
Okay, which behavioral disability do you think it is and why? A bit more time for others to respond. Yes, we have here we have oppositions. OCD denies the fact. OCD, he doesn't like the way it is open. We have here perfectionism, OCD fixation. We have oppositions. Some of us think it might be ODD, like aggressiveness. He's arguing with the adult for no reason. Yes, he's very frustrated, visibly, right? Any more? Okay, so let's reveal the answer.
This is Raphael. He's been diagnosed with OCD.
Okay, here we can see this was OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. This one is fixation, obsession, yes, with one little small thing. If it's not removed, he literally physically cannot eat it. So although it's obvious for us that it doesn't interfere with you and you can eat it easily, for him, it's a big deal, as you can see. Okay, let's move on to the next one and the final one. Here we have, yeah, there you go. Which behavioral disability is it? Although some can argue that it is any child when he's trying to focus on a math video or on a cartoon or movie. But it is actually a behavioral disability. Okay, we have ADHD. Yes, of course, we have. Majority can straightforwardly see that it is ADHD because of the hyperactivity. Okay, able to concentrate to the interesting, but unable if no motivation. Let's see. Yes, this is ADHD. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Yes, although it might seem that any child will behave this way, from the previous video, the child is super hyperactive. He couldn't stay focused even for a minute. He was spinning and he just couldn't stay focused, as you said. Okay, so this was the last video, and this is the end of our activity. Right now, I would like to invite you to a 10-minute break. After which we will come back and we will talk about treated and untreated behavioral disabilities. And later I will give the floor to my colleague to talk about certification needs. Okay, so let's take a 10-minute break. We will come back at 6:45. Okay. Okay, hello everybody again. Let's get back. Please give me some reactions if you can hear me and if you're able to get back. Thank you. Okay, let's move on. As I mentioned, we are going to go to our third part, which is treated or untreated behavioral disabilities. Of course, we cannot treat or we cannot cure behavioral disabilities, but it means more like addressed or not addressed behavioral disabilities. Of course, before we start, I would like you to pick one of these questions and answer it either verbally or, as always, you can write it in the chat. The first question is, can you think of a student whose behavior changed because of early behavioral support or intervention? Okay, think about a student whose behavior changed and please say how. Or you can answer a second question. What happened when a behavioral disability was not addressed? Let's say it was ignored and nothing happened, and what happened later? Okay, so you can choose either of these questions and you can either write it down or raise your hand to speak. From my experience, I can definitely answer a second question because, as I said before, it happens quite often that the parents do not listen to the teacher's advice and they don't go and don't check anything. So in this situation, it just gets worse because every year that the program becomes harder for them and they just become more and more confused and there's no support, no additional help, no assistant who can help them, and they just kind of are left behind. And of course, they don't feel very good about it. They notice those things even, and they understand that maybe something is wrong with them. I'm talking about like primary years, which is very sad because this could have been avoided if it was addressed and properly treated. We have Teria. A new early childhood education law has just come into effect in Estonia, which prohibits parents from depriving their child of the help necessary for their development. That is very nice. I hope that Baltic states will follow Estonia and Lithuania as well will do the same. Here I have a child that had autism, and after a year of therapy, his behavior completely changed. That is very, very nice to hear. I also have an example of one kid with autism from kindergarten, and his behavior was very disruptive, very, very explosive. He would run around the classroom and just punch anybody just because they were passing by. He would touch them and scream at them, and it was not evil or malicious, but it's just his like coping mechanism. And after that, the parents went to occupational therapy, so they had additional like therapy sessions after kindergarten where he learned emotionally how to behave, how to self-regulate, also academically, like counting or spelling he learned. And after a while it became slowly but surely better. Okay, thank you for sharing. If you have anything else to share, you can write, and I will always read it. Let's go to the next slide then. Okay, so I would like to discuss with you immediate effects on classroom dynamics if the behavioral disability is untreated or unaddressed. I'm sure most of you can relate to these points, but I'm going to read them for you. So disruption to lesson flow, calling out, non-compliance, or emotional outbursts can happen. Peer relationship affected, so isolation, bullying, or peer rejection. Teacher time imbalance, disproportionate focus or on only one or two students, and reduced academic engagement for all. This is definitely true, especially when it comes to peer relationship. When the student is disruptive or not able to self-regulate due to his behavioral disability, his peers tend to, they don't want to be in the same team with him, for example. They don't want to work with him. They don't want to be in pair with him, which is very sad to see. Another thing is I find very, very relatable is teachers' time is imbalanced because of these, because of one or two students with behavioral disability and no additional help. You tend to focus on that student the most, let's say, and you give most of the time to the student, while the other class, the whole class is suffering actually, because you either give them instruction and just make them do it themselves without additional help, or just leave them with the unattended, which is not. So if there's no additional support, something will affect and some aspect will suffer. Yeah. So let's move on. These are effects on classroom dynamics. Now let's talk about role of early intervention. I would like to point out. So early intervention is the key. The earlier the behavioral disability is identified and addressed, the better it is. This is because of the concept that is called neuroplasticity. So this is basically brain's ability to change and to adapt new knowledge and new behaviors. This concept is the best when you are when the child is very young. So early intervention means that we can intervene with his or her behavior early on, and then they will learn this behavior and they will use this as coping mechanism in the future. That is why early intervention is so important. But when it is delayed, behaviors become more ingrained and harder to change in the future. Okay, here are common treated and untreated trajectories. Effective early interventions might include, and here are some points: classroom-based behavioral strategies, speech or occupational therapy, which I pointed out before, cognitive behavioral therapy, family counseling, or medication when appropriate and if needed, of course. Okay, some of these things are can be provided at school, but some of these things, and usually most oftenly, are outside. So, for example, speech therapy or occupational therapy can be outside of the school. In my example, I can tell you, for example, in our school we have speech therapists. So this is one really nice thing about it. I can see somebody, I think, raising their hand, or maybe it was a mistake. Okay, so let's move on. And here I wanted to show you how different behavioral disabilities might end up if they are treated or untreated. For example, when it comes to ADHD, in the treated option, we have focus support. And if it's untreated or unaddressed, then we have frustration or feeling of failure in the class and in the kindergarten. When it comes to ODD, we have clear structure when it is addressed. And if it's not, then we have escalating defiance. When it comes to anxiety, if it is treated or addressed, the student or child learns coping strategies and coping mechanisms. But if not, then they develop avoidance. Okay. Now here I would like to show you some long-term adult outcomes. So what happens to a child whose behavioral disability was addressed and or not addressed how does it affect them in the future? So in the case when it's untreated, we have chronic underachievement, higher school dropout rates. We have increased referrals to special education or disciplinary systems, higher risk of unemployment, increased likelihood of legal issues, even sometimes, struggles with stable relationships, and of course, some adults might develop depression or other mental disorders. However, if it's addressed or treated, then we have improved classroom behavior and engagement, consistent academic progress, great likelihood of high school completion, greater independence and job stability, and healthier social and emotional functioning. Okay. Okay, so to summarize, of course, early consistent intervention is the key to a better life outcomes. Untreated cases often result in compounding challenges. And thirdly, you can play a pivotal role in recognizing and referring students early. Now, I would like to go to the next activity. For this activity, I will be dividing you into six groups. And I would like you to discuss this. So it's a case study analysis. We will have the cases, 3 cases of preschool kids. We will divide into groups. Your group's goal is to identify the disability and decide whether it is treated or untreated case. Okay, so right now, I'll take a look, please, at this first case study. I advise you to take a picture or a screenshot of this because when I will be dividing you into teams, you will not be able to see my screen, unfortunately. Okay, but I will also read it for you right now. Okay, so take a look. We have the first case. It is Ethan, who's age 4. His classroom behavior. Ethan is very energetic and constantly moves around the classroom. He often leaves his seat during circle time, interrupts the teacher when she is speaking, and grabs toys from peers without asking. While he's friendly and talkative, he has difficulty finishing any activity, especially those requiring sitting still. Ethan has recently started using a small fidget toy to help him during circle time. The teacher reminds him to take deep breaths when he starts getting restless, and he is slowly learning to pause before speaking. His peers notice he can stay in activities a bit longer than before. So your objective is to think what behavioral disability it is and if it is treated or untreated. Do you have any questions? If not, then I will divide you into teams, okay? All right. You have 6 rooms, and you will have 3 minutes, okay? Okay. And let's divide. Let's go. Okay. Let's see.
capacity, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But he must understand the time, let's say, the time. Like I have to stay in the table 10 minutes. I have to stay at the table for 20 minutes. When I want to talk, I have to do this, you know. But I think he has this capacity.
Yes, and he's very young,
Yeah, yeah.
4 years old. And if the behavior is better now,
Mhm.
we can think that in the future he will learn to.
So, I hope this was enough time to discuss. In the case of this boy, Ethan, which conclusions did you come up to? Do you think what kind of behavioral disability do you think it is, and is it untreated or treated one? Please share your thoughts if you would like so. Please raise your hand. Yes, we have Eugenia, please.
Our group agrees there is ADHD and is treatable.
ADHD treated. Thank you very much. Okay, any other teams would like to speak up right now? Otherwise, you can also write in the chat.
Our team thinks the same.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Teria. Any other teams? And we have another, I guess, a team says ADHD treated. Okay, let's go without further ado, reveal the answer. And you were right, this was ADHD, a treated one. Based on the facts in the classroom behavioral activities, we can see that this boy is being treated or he has support, right? Okay, perfect. Before we go to the next one, and we will divide as well, I want to ask you, is it enough time for you, or do you want a little bit more time to discuss? If it's good, just give me thumbs up. Okay, I think it's good. Okay. Okay, we go to the next case, which is Maya. She's aged 5. So her classroom behavior. Maya often argues with teachers when asked to follow directions. If told to clean up, she sometimes yells, refuses, or knocks toys over. She quickly blames classmates when conflicts arise and often insists things are unfair. She gets annoyed easily, especially if she doesn't get her way, and her behavior has stayed much the same throughout the school year. Her teachers note that strategies like giving her choices or offering praise for cooperation haven't made much difference, and her peers are beginning to avoid group activities with her because of conflicts like such. Okay, so in the case of Maya, we're going to decide which behavioral disability it is and if it's treated and untreated. Again, I will divide you into breakout rooms. And let's go.
In your country, you said something earlier. For me, was really interesting. In your country, if the parents,
The teacher tell the
yeah,
parents if
yeah,
they don't do what it's good for the
yeah.
children, we can go to the law.
Oh, okay. And the parents
The
lost
school
their.
the school do this, so the parents most of the time do what teacher
Obligated.
says.
Uh-huh. Okay,
In the
that's
way
just
they
really interesting.
have no problems with the law.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's not because of the teacher, it's because of the consequences
Yeah, it's the
they
first
may
time when I
face.
hear this. It's really good.
Yes,
I would like in my country, in Romania, to be like that, you know.
but we have to be careful. We have to know the family very well. We have to understand very,
Okay.
so we can sometimes we can do harm to the family
Mm.
if we go to the law and they are doing the best they can.
And if they don't have money to pay for
Yes,
the
yes,
therapy or
we
something
have,
like that, what's happened at that
yes,
with that situation? What's happening?
yes. It's a great responsibility.
Uh-huh. Okay. Thank you. See you next time.
Okay, so we are back. Thank you so much for the discussion. So, in the case of Maya, what do we think her behavior? What's the behavioral disability, and is it treated or untreated?
For us, it is untreated,
Mhm.
and it could be like OCD with behavior, but I don't
Mhm.
know. Yeah.
Mhm. Thank you. Okay, very nice. Other teams?
Our group found there is ODD,
Uh
not
huh.
treated.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. We have in the chat untreated ODD, and again ODD untreated. ODD untreated. Okay, so I guess it's all of the groups, I think, answered. Let's go ahead and reveal the answer. And yes, you were right. This was ODD, untreated case. We could see that nothing was changed. And unfortunately, this is untreated case. Okay, let's go to our last case study. Here we have we have Jordan. He's 4.5. Jordan often gets frustrated when routines change. If circle time starts late, he may throw toys or hide under the table. He has difficulty transitioning between activities and sometimes screams or cries if he has to stop playing suddenly. He likes to line up blocks but gets upset if others move them. He prefers solitary play and doesn't easily join group activities. Jordan has a visual schedule and carries a stress ball, which he squeezes when he feels overwhelmed. With teacher support, he has begun joining group play for short period and is handling changes with the help of teacher. Okay, so let's discuss this one also quickly in the break rooms. So, and here we go. Okay, so let's get back to it. What were your conclusions about this case? Mhm. We have in the chat autism treated, autism and treated, autism which is treated, autism treated. Mhm. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and reveal the answer for us. In the case of Jordan, this is autism spectrum disorder, which is treated. So well done, amazing job. You have identified every behavioral disability. So thank you so much for that. And now we are going to move on to part 4, which I'm going to give the floor to my colleague Iago. And I would like to thank you for participating and for listening to me. So let's continue with the value of certification. Iago, we ready?
Hello.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, hello everyone. Can you move on the next slide? Okay, before we start about why formal recognition diagnosis matters, I would like to ask you a question. Do you think official verification of behavioral disabilities is important? And why do you think? And think of time when your student's parents verified his her behavioral disabilities and how did this process went? You can write down in the group chat like in previous parts, or you can raise your hand. I would wait several seconds and then I would move on next slides if you would like to share your experience.
Okay. I think it's very, very important for me to have an official verification of behavioral disability. I think we can do that because it could address more and more problems in the future while they're still young. Now, I think while the children are still young, I think it's vital for them to be really understood and be guided on, so that in the nearest future they would be verified too, and they would have a kind of modification in their behavior. And for me, for number 2 is think of a time when the student's parents verified his behavior,
Yes.
how it experienced. Okay, um, okay. Well, practically, when you tell the parents that these are the things that we might consider and we might have to work on, I think some parents would say or would negate the problem or would say that they don't have any problem at all, probably because of the expenses or kind of like they might be ashamed that this kind of behavior
Yes.
is really coming from their students or from their children. So, but if we could make a suggestion that this kind of thing that we need to do, and we can will help not only the parents but also the children as well as the school, so that in order for us to really go and contribute or give them the extension of our lessons, that they would understand well and they can really make it implementation in their lives. So I think that's one of the things that I really like to consider on.
Yes, thank you, Ramon. Yes, your name. Thank you for your experience, for sharing, for your thoughts. Yes, question second is like very some parents does not want to face this that their child can have some symptoms about that, but yeah, we will talk about this in next slides. Alia, could you move on next slide, please? About why formal recognition diagnosis matters, because it is key to access to help, because certification opens the door to real help, and it turns a child's needs into formal rights and responsibilities for the systems to meet. And first is it makes the child's needs official. So it's like clarification provides documented proof that a child requires specific support. This needs teachers and professionals clearly understand what kind of help is needed. And second is that it allows schools and professionals to legally provide support with official verification. Schools can offer special education service accommodations and individualized program without facing legal or administrative barriers. And third one is that it protects the child's rights, which means that certification ensures that the child is recognized under educational and disability law, giving them access to the same opportunity and protection as any other students. And certification opens to the door to real help. It turns a child's needs into formal rights and responsibilities for the system to meet. And on the next slide, we will talk about this service that open up after diagnosis. There are like 4 steps which are very important, and those steps, if any child which needs these steps, they will use it separately. It won't have that effect, like combine them together step by step. But first one is like after a formal diagnosis, several important services become available to support a child learning and development. Let's talk about individualized educational plan called IEP, which means that a personal learning plan that sets goals and outlines the specific support to student needs. Second one is 5 or 4 plan accommodations, and it is adjustments like extra time, like modified tasks also, or a quieter workspace where child feels more open, safe, and to communicate with educator. Also very important, and third step is therapy, speech, OT, and counseling, which means that strategies and positive reinforcement to manage behavior and create a supportive learning environment. This is very important also. This methodology and treatment is mostly used in the United States and in the United Kingdom. These 2 countries are mostly using these techniques. And if I talk in Lithuania, how is it? It's similar support exists under the law of on education, and school can provide individual education plans, psychological and special pedagogical assistance and therapy when needed. Most children with special educational needs now study in mainstream schools, and also access to the specialist and the early support is still improving in here. And as I mentioned, yes, these are 4 steps, and it is recommended to use step by step. And on the next slide, I will talk about how this benefits the child. We see here on the picture, but I will talk about these aspects. For example, reduced punishment and fewer suspensions. What does it mean, punishment? It does not mean like something serious, but for example, if you don't know like how to treat kids, especially special needs, and what are like needs, what needs they need, it's hard, and we can have bad result. We cannot develop this education or behavior or socialized process. And let's talk now about this in details. For example, reduced punishment and fewer suspension. When teacher understands the child need, behavior is managed with support instead of punishment. Second one is improved school performance. And what does it mean? Individualized learning and accommodations helps the child succeed academically. Better emotional regulation. Therapy and structured support helps the child manage emotion and respond calmly to challenge. Next one is better emotional regulation, which means therapy and structured support helps the child manage emotion and respond calmly to the challenge. Next one is higher self-esteem and motivation. This is also very important because it does not matter actually, it's just only about special needs children or students. When you motivate child, when you show them like nice feedback, it's like really encourages them to do better, and yes, feeling understood and supported boosts confidence in them and encourages learning, of course. Next one is stronger, and last one is stronger peer relationships, which means like social skills, support, and inclusive classroom help children connect positively with classmates. And this allows them benefits not only improve learning, but also helps the child thrive social and emotional, creating a more positive school experience overall. Next slide is about challenges families face in the diagnosis process. While certification and support service are extremely valuable, family often face significant challenges, during the diagnostic process, and long wait times. For example, in many cases, families must wait months or even years to get an official evaluation. Cost barriers also, if we consider private assessments, can be expensive, and not everyone can afford these private assessments. If we talk about public service, sometimes it's limited, so it's also very challenging. Third one is stigma and fear of labeling, which means some parents will worry that diagnosis will negatively affect how their child is treated. And it's very important to talk about this and discuss and have more awareness. Next one is, and last one, not last one, but before one, last, language and cultural barriers, which means that families who are living abroad, who are like non-native language backgrounds, maybe struggle to access appropriate services, which means miscommunication. And last one is school delays or resistance. Some schools may be slow to implement support or reluctant to recognize the child needs, and these challenges can delay the help a child receive and increase stress for families. Recognizing and addressing these obstacles to essential for making support accessible and effective for every child who needs it. And the next slide is about why families still pursue diagnosis and still seek on new ways. Despite the challenges, families often choose to pursue a formal diagnosis because it brings significant benefits. For example, unlocking access to life-changing services, a diagnosis opens the door to therapies, accommodations, and individualization support. This is very important. And also, next one is provides answers and peace of mind. Families who better understand their child's needs and can stop guessing why certain challenges occur, they are more certain what to do and how to treat their child. So it's understandable. Next one is support before and after diagnosis. What does it mean? Providing understanding, accommodations, and encouragement through the process. Speak up in meetings, participating actively in IEP, and also, which we mentioned already, this methodology is also 5 or 4 plan meetings to ensure the child gets appropriate support. And last one is help reduce stigma in the classroom, which means that promoting inclusion and understanding among classmates to create a positive and learning environment. In summary, I would say that teachers are often the bridge between the child, the families, and the school system, because we are spending most time with children from the morning until evening, and I think we are the ones who can notice more symptoms and who can inform specialists and also parents if any kind of treatment or visit with specialist is needed. Next one is about journey, why verification helps. Yeah, just a second. Teachers advocacy. Sorry, Ali. Could you move back? Just need. Okay, next one. Sorry. Yes, why certification helps? Certification helps because, just a second. Yes. Certification is not just a label, but it's okay. It's also a key to support, pathway to support. It allows school, therapists, and families to provide the right help, gives the child what they need to succeed. Accommodation, therapies, and individualized plans help the child reach their potentials. And last one is prevent misunderstandings. Without certification, I think it's clear a child's needs may be misinterpreted or mislabeled or overlooked, which leads to missed opportunities. And yes, in summary, certification turns a diagnosis into real, actionable support that makes a meaningful difference in the child's life. And here on the last slide, on the next slide, we can see journey of diagnosis map. Yes, here. And what that means, on the next slide, we will have seven real life steps, which means which usually happens when a student is being identified and supported for a behavioral disability, such as autism spectrum disorder. And you will notice that there will be seven steps. Could you move next slide? Yes. Here are 7 steps, and out of order, mixed up, and this activity is about how to like which is first, which is second, to do in order. So you can take picture of this activity, because when Alia will divide you into groups, you won't be able to see this slide, so it's better to take picture. I will wait until you take pictures.
Okay, please do let us know if you're ready. You can react, so then I will divide you into teams. Okay.
Please read each step carefully and arrange them in the correct order.
Can I divide? Yago?
Yes.
So let's go.
They took pictures. Yes, could you? Yeah, okay.
How much time do you want me to give them?
Maybe 10 minutes. I think 10 minutes will be enough.
Sure. Okay, there's one team that is asking for help.
Yes.
You need to go to that room and help them. This is the first one.
Okay, just a second.
Okay.
Ali, are you here?
Yes.
What do you want me to do? I did not understand.
Okay, I am going to make the breakout rooms again, I think, because there was a problem. I can see a lot of people cannot connect. So I'm going to do it again.
Let me try to do again.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I cannot connect too.
Okay, we will try one more time, okay?
I'm sorry about this. Let's try. Are you able to connect now? No, oh my gosh. Okay, let's try again. Okay. And let's open.
I think, could you try right now one more time?
I don't think that we could really join in. There's a problem. Otherwise, if I join in, I have to get out. And it seems like I'm disconnected and have to rejoin again. To rejoin.
It is the same for me actually, because when I try to join breakouts too, it's
the same for me as well.
okay, it's fine. Okay. Maybe someone wants to, like, we can try together actually. Like maybe
Yeah, I'm so
someone,
sorry for this. I tried.
I think it does not. I
but,
think it does not work. Maybe
yeah, it seems.
share screen, Alia, one more time.
Yes, it seems like there's technical issue here. So let's do it just on your own.
Okay, we can discuss together. Okay, this is the one mixed up, out of order. So what do you think? Maybe someone wants to write down, or even you can speak. What do you think? Which can be first step?
The first step is in the classroom.
Sorry?
In the classroom, where when teacher observe something unusual in the child.
Yes, like what? There are 7 steps. So, what do you think? Which can be step number 1, for example?
Maybe I can answer first. I think I can go for number 1 is you have to identify.
Nice,
and
great.
then,
Yes,
and
it's
then
correct.
Number 3, yes.
And then you document.
Identification. Let's say yes.
Yes.
Identification is first. Just a second.
And I would say that you would document it.
Number 2.
For family involvement.
Documentation, yeah?
Yeah.
You mean documentation, yeah?
Yeah. And then I would say, okay, maybe other people now. I'm sorry, I'm taking it out. Okay, maybe someone.
Okay, Ramon, if no one tries, you can try again. So.
Number 3, family involvement.
Step number 3. No,
No,
it's not.
I think it is initial classroom support.
Yes.
Great, good job. Was it same person
Okay.
like previous one and second?
Yeah. And
Great,
then
good job.
Family involvement. Number 4. No?
No.
next is, I would say, to referral of the school meeting.
Yes.
And then she's right. I would say family involvement.
Yes.
And then I would say for specialist assessment.
Yes.
Or
And
then formal diagnosis.
yeah, we can move on next slide, Alia, and show the answers actually.
Okay.
Thank you for your job, Alia, and thank you.
Okay, I'll turn it
Ramon,
off now. Okay.
for your participation. Thank you so much. Yes, step number 1 is, and it's logical identification. In teacher notice a student is often withdrawn and non-verbal in groups. And yeah, second one is documentation, that we start documenting the student's behavior daily to track patterns and make notes. How is it going and how is the process? And third one is initial classroom support, which is on teachers, and it's very big role from us. The teacher use a visual schedule and sensory breaks to support the student. First one is referral, and Ramon was right. School meeting with a school counselor and is scheduled to discuss concerns. Fifth one is family involvement. Then we also, like, family expresses concern and agrees to further assessment. And this is very important that family is collaborating with teachers, with specialists. I can talk about our schools. For example, I am an English teacher, but in our class we have students with special needs, and yeah, we use these steps, identification, but in our case also family, parents also has some information about their child, but we have specialists also in our school, and then we have this documentation passed to our specialists, and we have meetings and we follow these steps. And yeah, six is specialist assessments. I will move on steps again. Raised hand. Yes, you can ask a question.
I would like to say that in Portugal, family involvement, it's earlier.
First? Sorry?
No, not
Earlier.
when the teacher identifies something, he calls the family, because sometimes...
Okay. Yes, finish, and I will tell you some arguments about that, why we have these steps. Yes, finish, please. Sorry for interrupting.
All the steps, besides the first, is with family involvement. Family participate in all the steps.
Yes, but in our case, for example, at my workplace, I had case when we needed to inform family, and it's quite often these kind of cases, because some parents does not want to face, this that their kids has some symptoms, and they think no, everything is fine. They go to work and leave kids to school, and yeah, like in the evenings they come and take kids, and some of them does not want to face that there are some issues, and we need to have like more deep look in these cases, and that's why we are preparing documentation, and we have like meetings first with specialists, and then we get Alia has raised. Alia, I will finish, and yes, of course. And we have these meetings with specialists first, and we get advice, like how should we go to parents, and how should we we need to discuss with family about this, because it's very sensitive. You cannot just go with family and talk. Like I noticed this, and okay, there is something wrong, because it's very sensitive topic, and until we are not clear that okay, we need to have like more deep conversation about this topic, we cannot just go. Alia, sorry, you can.
Yeah, I guess it comes to, as we can see, we have different like steps in different countries. I guess it comes to, again, different systems. As we learn in Portugal, teachers have more power, let's say, and they are able to convince parents better. But in our case, in Lithuania, unfortunately, we do not have such power. And therefore, as you said, yes, we have initial meetings with psychologists, with other teachers, with administration first, and we come to this conclusion all together, and only then we involve the family. It's true, but of course it doesn't mean it's the only way to do it.
Yes.
We have different systems in different countries, and it is done like that.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you all so much. Yes, you were raising hand. I don't know, Maria. Yes, if I'm correct.
I think Ramon is.
Yeah,
raising.
before was Maria, but okay, Ramon, you can say if you want to say something.
For me, I have to establish first. I mean, and you're right when you say that. I think that we need to document first, and then you will set up like meetings and everything, and then you go for professional help, and then once you establish it, then you can go to the parents' involvement. Because I think some parents would just right away bluntly deny that my child is
Yes.
different, and sometimes the children also act differently in the classroom and act differently at home. So I think we need to establish it before we really proceed to the parents. I mean, that was a common practice for us. Yeah, we do that because so that they would not deny, because of a document that would really make it substantial that this is right and this is correct, and we observe it. And then I will be if I was a teacher, I would be back up with the administration or the school, and plus the professional, that the student has kind of like special needs.
And may I ask, which country are you from, or in which country do you
Well,
practice?
I live in both countries. I live in France. I'm from Paris, and I also have a school in Asia. So yeah, we do that here and we do that there. No, yeah, we do that the same thing. And yeah, it's the final involvement is the parents, so that they could not deny because of the document that we have had. Uh, that's it. Thank you very much. I'm taking.
Does anyone want to say something? Add something, maybe.
Yes. I would like
Yes.
to say that here in Portugal, the relationship between teachers and families are a little bit different. We are partners in the
That's
process.
nice.
Yes, and
That makes job easy, when you collaborate and working on to
and
make.
they are. I think I feel that parents have some confidence in the teacher's work, and before we do something in the classroom, we talk with the parents. Parents know that we are paying attention to the child, that we are trying some strategies, even before we talk with anyone else. We bring the family to the school and to the struggles that school are having with the child. I think it's really different.
Thank you for your response. I appreciate your experience for sharing us. Yes, it's different in different countries, but yeah, like maybe we will try to implement in our school if it works. let's say. And if it's clear for you, I think you have pictures also. If anyone wants to use in practice these steps. And Alia, could you move on next slide? Yeah, those are references, and we will share this presentation. And there are references where you can find detailed information about our presentation. And this is feedback. You can scan this, you can take picture or scan this, and you will receive certificate only upon completion of the feedback. So if you want to get certificate, you need to leave feedback, which is just 2 minutes job. And Ramon is raising hand. Yes.
That was before. I raised hand before.
It shows right now. So all good.
Really? Okay. Sorry.
All good. Yes, if we will share also this presentation, and you can scan later also, but this is very important to leave your feedback. So this certificate is also very useful. Let's move on next slide. And we want to thank you for your attention, for your participation, especially those ones who spoke and shared their experience, and everyone for listening. And yeah, we will have next module on 18th of November, first one, and then will be like 2nd of December and 9th of December. Yes, Alia wants to add something. Thank you.
No, I just wanted to also conclude and say thank you for everybody participating, and thank you for our speakers, Iago, Miguel, and myself. And I hope you enjoyed our module. This is it for us. If you have any questions, you can still write in the chat. But yes, thank you so much for participating, and have a good evening.
Alia, could you please respond? Someone Renata wrote that send us link for certificate, please.
Okay, I will do so right now. If you wait just 1 minute, and you'll have a link right now in the chat, okay?
Yes, I will also send the link by email. So if you don't get to do it now, you can also do it later, while I will send it to everyone in the email, together with the slides and materials that were used today as the previous time.
So here I'm sending the link for you. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much, and have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you very much,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you to the speakers and to the participants. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.